Do you remember how I met Foucault on the beach? He was drawing faces in the sand, which were then washed away by the waves, and he said something about the end of man.
Yes, that was what he said in the last pages of The Order of Things. Man is neither the oldest nor the most constant problem that has been posed for human knowledge. One can certainly wager that man would be erased like a face drawn in the sand at the edge of the sea.
Exactly. I had to think about it again now because there's a lot of discussion about posthumanism these days.
Postmodernism? Oh, that was really exhausting
No, I meant posthumanism.
because puppets are posthumans.
Posthumanism has nothing to do with puppetry. It started at some point in the mid 1990s, partly drawing on science and technology studies, for example, Bruno Latour and Donna Haraway, and partly building on cultural studies, media theory, animal studies, and so on. I think the basic idea was to renew our image of humans by taking into account current developments in science and technology, especially reproductive medicine, computer science, and molecular biology.
But that sounds a lot like Foucault.
Really? I thought he would have been more interested in history, the archaeology of human sciences, and so on, or in an aesthetics of the subject, the care of the self, and similar stuff.
Oh, please, don't underestimate his ambition to capture the present of our culture and society, its actuality, especially with regard to the new power regimes that are emerging.
I'm not sure.
Look, uh, in the order of things, he distinguishes three large themes or areas against the background of which the figure of man emerges around 1800.
You see, it's all about history.
Namely, labor, life, and language. And what interests Foucault is precisely not just history, but the question of how these three areas are arranged today in order not only to change the form of the human being, but basically to produce it.
Be more specific, please.
Foucault himself said a lot about the changes in language, the emergence of anonymous discourse, and the dissolution and dispersion of the author that this entails. So I'll spare you that here. But as far as life is concerned, there is a very similar dissolution and dispersion going on, above all through the leap into molecular biology, where dispersed life is then regrouped in the genetic code.
How about labor?
In my book on Foucault, I say dispersed work had to regroup in third generation machines, cybernetics, and information technologies. So here, too, the forces in man have entered into a relation with other exterior forces, in this case, and I quote, the forces of information technology and their third generation machines, which together create something other than man, indivisible man machine systems.
Indivisible man-machine systems? I think this is very similar to what posthumanists tell us.
Oh, yes?
Well, for them, the connection between humans and something else is incredibly important. This is precisely why cyborgs, actor networks, and assemblages are key notions in the discourse of posthumanism.
The concept of assemblage is, of course, very familiar to me. But better be careful. It is quite important to understand such assemblages or networks, not simply in terms of discourses or signs, but also in terms of their materiality and the power relations this conveys, as far as the interactions between humans and computers are concerned. It should be said, for example, that they constitute a union with silicon instead of carbon.
In other words, an alliance with sand.
You mean because silicon as a chemical element is mainly found in the Earth's mantle?
I told you I met Foucault on the beach. Perhaps he suspected that our entire computer society is literally built on sand.
That's absolutely possible. But then his statement would not just be about the end of man, but perhaps also about the end of posthumanism.
Which would not mean the end of puppetry. I cannot imagine a world without you.